I guess I shouldn't insult anybody while I'm...
No, we could have had that really boring person.
We all know what it's like to have a really boring person.
Honey, you've got to do something about your runs and your...
Tell me about it.
You are, no,
She's
you
such
have
a
no
hag.
runs. You are, but you're beautiful.
We're going to have to put that one in a clip.
You're beautiful.
Next week, Viva calls Margot a hag.
No.
Okay.
In the face. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Love you, dear.
Okay.
Why don't you go to camera 2 right now, or the one of
two.
all 3 of us? 3? That's good. We'll start the show with this. Welcome to Get Off My Dress this week. This roundtable discussion is now inhabited by Miss Viva of Viva and Jerry's
Country
Video.
Video!
Yay! This is the very new start of our roundtable discussions where we talk about current events and pretty much rant and rave as we please. Welcome, Viva.
Hey, I'm okay with the round table, but this is a square table. What are we going to do about this? I'm sorry.
Well, what do you
it's
expect in a drag queen world?
And it's also MTN, darling. So
That's right.
It's called the square table talk.
One day when we
Discussion.
actually make any money, we'll actually buy a round table.
All right.
Better if we happen to
That's
pass
our
a dump that
goal.
has
Anybody out there that's got a nice round table, bring it over here to Margot and Fargo. They're great gals.
Absolutely.
All right.
one. It has rounded edges.
It's got rounded edges. Hey,
That's
cool.
So right now, I guess the biggest thing is the Clinton impeachment.
No, the biggest thing is Jesse.
Oh, the biggest
Jesse
thing is me being
Ventura.
dumped.
Have you seen those T-shirts that says "My governor can beat up
You
your
betcha.
governor"?
I don't own one yet, but I do have a Jesse t-shirt. I love the man. Hey, Jesse.
Isn't he
Mwah.
wonderful?
You know, I've got people in Texas that are wanting me to get those T-shirts for them.
Oh,
As well as you should.
And my big
You
reply to
should.
that one was, "Hey, that means your governor can beat up my governor? I don't think so."
oh, we've got such a great state, don't we?
Yes,
I
we
I just
do.
love
so.
it here.
Well, he's, you know, the big question that was asked to me by the people in Texas was, how do you like having him so far? And I'm like, well, it's been kind of new. He hasn't really done anything yet, except a really great party.
He's put us on a map. That's
Yeah.
doing something.
Hasn't he, though? I mean, everywhere
Yes.
you look. Do you know what? Some friends of mine in Thailand saw, like, pictures of him in there.
Oh my gosh.
Like, isn't that wild?
Anytime you can
that's
put your face
wonderful.
on Time Magazine, darling.
Oh,
Whoa.
that's right.
That's a big one.
And just a governor, too. Like, when was the last time that happened? You know, something,
He's the man.
Something else that someone, what do you think about this? A lot of people are saying that people are not voting for governors, for politicians anymore.
That's right.
What do you think about that?
I think that's exciting because, you know, I think that people that go into politics as a way of life or a career know nothing about my needs as a drag queen.
Honey, nobody knows about your needs.
I know
That's what makes it so much fun.
I know about him, and trust me, you don't want to know.
Well, there you go, girl.
I have needs too.
What do you think about politicians versus regular
Folk.
outstanding
Actually, I don't even like politics, okay? I mean, but I actually walked over to vote for Jesse. He's the first man that's actually, I think, is wonderful. He's going to do the job. I like the idea of his wife getting paid. Why shouldn't we? That's, you know, hey, he's
That's a big step for women.
You
right
got it.
there.
She had to give up her job, and now she's Mrs. Governor, so, or whatever you call him.
That is just so wonderful.
So it's like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
been a big issue.
It's all
where
changing.
she should get paid for being first wife.
You bet.
Now, admittedly, they haven't done that in any of the past predecessors, president, whatever.
You bet.
And let's face it, the first lady has a lot of issues, and she actually has a lot of, you know,
Just to buy new
responsibility.
clothes, just
Yeah.
to be part of it, you know, I mean, you know, her gowns and stuff.
Don't you think that goes more into the politician's end of it, though? Like
Yeah.
being paid for being there and doing a community service?
There you go.
I mean, originally, the way I understand it, politicians, were, you know, who you voted for was just someone everyone liked in the community. It wasn't, you know, there were no career politicians, so that all goes down to it. And I'm making no sense whatsoever.
Yes,
so
you
let's
are.
go on
Well,
to
we
our
love
next
you, dear.
subject.
Let's talk about men. How do you keep from scaring them away? I've had no luck at all lately. I need some pointers, gals.
That's because you have runs in your nylons, darling.
Is it the
Men do
nylons
not
that are
like
scaring
it.
them
It's
away
the
from
nylons.
me?
See, I
Oh.
mean, Dottie has
Oh.
no runs at all, and darling, you always have runs.
It's called obsession, darling.
Men don't
you
like
do
the
not
runs?
give flowers on the second date.
What?
You do
Obsession?
not tell a man you want to live for the rest of your life with them and have children on your second date.
Good
But
point.
they're so cute. I focus so much on them.
Well, I think your big problem is you had a really long relationship for 16 years.
Yes.
And now you're done with that, so you want to go right back into one. So
Darling, you're not that
get
old,
over
are
it.
you?
Oh.
Okay,
had a
now
I
go ahead.
started when I was 3.
You had to because, boy, she's not
I'm
that old.
17 now.
Well, no, let's go 27. I'll believe that.
27.
All right.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that hasn't lost his sanity? Now for our next roundtable, anything someone can think of before I bring something?
What are your hopes for this year, Viva? What are you hoping for? How do you see this big, wonderful year coming up?
I really want to be on like David Letterman.
Oh, there you go.
We did a 45-minute interview. You know why? Everybody's got dreams, you know. Or just back to New York.
Yeah.
You know, back to New York. We've been there twice, so, you know, it'd be kind of cool.
Well, there's an interesting subject. How do you feel like about all the political things that are going on in New York? The mayor is like outlawed being rude, basically, and has cleaned up a lot of things.
I think
And
it's great.
A lot of people think it's stepping on rights in one respect, but on the same token, crime is down and a lot of things are down. But like in Taiwan, you can get like arrested for chewing gum.
That's right.
Well, not Taiwan. What is that? Some state.
Well, it doesn't
Fargo.
matter. We're not going to move there.
Fargo.
We're not going to move from Fargo, North Dakota.
How far do you think this issue should go? I mean, how much
Chewing
do you
gum?
want to outlaw? You know, like chewing gum.
Well, chewing gum isn't really cool. I mean, you know, you see a young, beautiful girl pin up or something, it'd be like you chewing gum. I've seen you do that on a show, though. And you do it with
It
class.
cheapens it.
You do it with class, but it does. You know, it's
Well, if you could say that about chewing gum, you could say it about smoking.
well, smoking is terrible, but you know, if you got the habit, there's no way you're gonna. It's hard to quit.
Well, it is definitely
You know.
hard to quit, but would you like someone to outlaw it? To say
They
that-
are,
Well,
honey. It's
admit it.
outlawed.
Well, you couldn't do it on the street either. I mean, that's the way, you know, to chew it. You couldn't chew gum in Tokyo or wherever.
Well, that
it is, but-
totally sucks. Okay,
Well,
we can
exactly.
say that.
So you
Yeah, I
can
think
say
we
one
can
way
say
or
that.
the
Totally.
other, but- Yeah.
No thumbs up, honey. Thumbs down. No, if you want to chew gum, if you don't want to chew, they shouldn't even sell it. If it's outlawed, don't sell it.
Well, I agree
The same
with
as
that.
cigarettes. If you know, take them off the market. Bam.
See, that's been my big point. I mean, if you don't want me to smoke it, why in the hell are you selling it?
Exactly.
I mean, it's great you make money off of it, and you're making great big taxes off of it, but you keep telling me to quit. Well, if I quit, guess what? You're not being paid.
That's right. And how are you going to quit? Somebody's going to have to help you.
Well, exactly, and that's the other thing. Like, to quit, have you ever like gone and checked out how much those non-smoking kits cost? It's more to quit than it is to smoke.
I have spent over
It is.
$2,000 trying to quit.
Oh my God.
Hypnosis, the what do you call it? The
Nicotine.
God, I'm blank.
Acupuncture.
Yeah, I done
Herpes?
that. I did that. Jerry and I did that.
Herpes?
And no, not herbal plant.
Oh, herbal plant. herbal
Yeah,
plant.
you take like 7 pills twice a day, 1 week, and you're cured.
Wow. So
Yep.
you tried all these things.
I've tried everything.
And they didn't work.
No, because if Jerry keeps smoking and you go 6 months without and you have one, don't ever take the first drag if anybody tries to quit.
Yeah, that's
No
true.
pun intended.
Well, I
pun
would
intended.
And it's especially hard if your partner smokes.
No, you got it.
You know?
Twice, 3 times I went back because he smokes. Not blaming Jerry, I love him with
No,
all my
no.
heart, but you know,
But
it's
that's across the board.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're trying to diet and someone
Well,
else in the house is not,
yeah.
it's so hard.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, you betcha.
So, yeah, I just quit with a patch, and it's been over 2 months for me.
You have?
Yeah.
Congratulations, girl. Good for you. Good
I'm so
for you.
fabulous, I kill myself.
You are fabulous.
Well, there's another subject. How about assisted suicide? What do you think about that?
No,
I've never
let's not even
assisted
go
one.
there.
I've been trying to assist her, but she doesn't back on.
Thanks, Dot.
You don't want to go there.
Anyway, I guess that's enough for today's
Yeah.
episode, and guess we'll see you next week. And remember, it ain't a subject unless you talk about it.
That's right.
See you next time on Get Off My Dress this week. Bye.
Thanks, Viva. Thank you, Viva. Oh, this was so fun. Thanks for being on our show.
Thank you, girls. Yay!
to another edition of Drag Queen 101. This is a very special edition because we have an interview with an astrologer. That's right, an interview with Casey, the astrologer. One big wow for Casey. Wow! Hey, Casey.
Hi, Margot.
How's it going?
It's going great.
This is so cool. I mean, I've seen stars for years, but I really don't understand anything about them. I mean, I've seen a Big Dipper, but don't ask me to point it out, because I certainly couldn't. What is it that you do, or tell me about astrology and...
Yes.
Oh, hey, look, there's some fans over there. Oh,
Hi,
my goodness.
fans.
Oh,
How are you?
There's just fans everywhere. I can't believe this. This is part of the new...
Casey.
Well, hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Jim, and we were just...
Jim? Hi, Jim. I'm Margot from Fargo.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, Peter.
Peter.
Hi, Jim. How's it going?
So you were just out
You're doing
walking your
good?
flamingo, is that right?
Looking good. Well, the flamingo was actually walking us. Well,
Have you
a
met
fast
Casey,
walker?
the astrologer?
no, I've never met Casey before, but I'm delighted, and I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
Oh.
What would you like to ask?
Well, first of all, I'd like to figure
She's
out
a real
how
woman.
things going to work.
Oh. And your name was?
Peter.
Peter. I'm Margot from Fargo.
Oh,
Well, thank you for stopping by.
I've been an admirer for a long time.
Oh, my. So tell me, which one is the pretty one?
Oh, I'm torn.
You're
really.
torn.
But
I'm the pretty
seeing the
one.
poodle is
The poodle, yes.
Poodle. I have a
There we
question
go.
for you.
I wear
Okay.
it now. It reminds me of Dottie somehow. I don't know. Pets do that. Go on.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Actually, to change the subject, what kind of information do you need to determine a chart? What does a person have to provide you with?
A person needs to provide an astrologer with the time, date, place of birth, and including the exact time, if possible. Consult a birth certificate, call your mom, wake her up in the middle of the night if you have to.
Moms
you know,
are good for
astrologers
lots of
have no
things.
patience. And you need it, if it's 3:33, that is different than 3:45. And that will change the chart. So you
because the
actually
moon
need
moves
to,
so much.
It's the ascendant, actually. We have,
What's an ascendant?
well, the ascendant is one of the crucial points in an astrological chart, and it tells a lot about how we come across to others. And it's a very important point describing our personality, our karma, our immediate purpose in life. and-
We're going to come right back to that.
Okay.
Dot. Okay, why?
Go.
Are we ready? Okay. That's terrific. So what's an ascendant? What is that?
Well, an ascendant, like the sun sign, is a very important part of the horoscope. And so when you read your newspaper horoscopes, you read Pisces for Pisces sun. But you could have Leo rising, and this would make you come across as a very more theatrical person, someone who really seeks a spotlight. There could be a natural actor, someone who's really artistic, but Pisces is also artistic. So then you combine those two together, and you read a chart, and you have another very important factor describing the personality of the person.
What does Gemini rising do?
Well, a Gemini ascendant would be someone who's very curious, someone who's very, maybe an intellectual person, someone who really likes languages, perhaps someone who's talented at writing, listening, learning. Everything pertaining to the mind is very happy territory for Gemini.
What about two people who are together and one is a Taurus and the other one's a Virgo? Would you have to know their sun signs and rising signs and all that stuff?
I would prefer it. If I were doing a comparison of two people, I think the most professional way is to analyze both charts. But I will tell you that Taurus and Virgo are both earth signs, so they're both pretty grounded people. They probably like nature. They're probably both very well thought out and methodical people. And they both can get into detail a bit. Taurus more likes gardening and Virgo maybe more analyzing. But they have similarities. And,
It doesn't keep them from fighting over taking the garbage out, I'll tell you that.
nothing does. Nothing does.
I sneaked over to James's house a few weeks ago and alphabetized 300 cassette tapes for him.
Oh my, there
And
it
I couldn't
is.
find anything
You know, you
after
were
that.
saying,
Totally
I
lost.
know I was born at 11:30 at night because I called my mom at 3 in the morning and I said, what was the latitude and longitude? And,
Okay.
you know, she failed me completely.
She said it was a
You
great
didn't know
building.
the
What do I
town?
know?
where you were
Well,
from?
yeah,
neglect.
but I finally looked it up in the map, but I mean,
Right.
that's the sort of thing that everyone should know their latitude and longitude, shouldn't they? With
Well,
the
if you know
global
your-
positioning satellite and everything.
Well, if you know your town of birth, that there's a computer program that will do all that latitude and longitude for you. And so you don't have to, you know, I've written this chart up, but you can do it all with computer, and that'll give you the latitude and longitude right there.
Well, what kind of general, like, you know, how do you see the, you know, as an astrologer, how do you kind of see the general climate for the world in the year to come? Do you have anything you can tell us about that?
Well, I don't make predictions
Oh.
about the world using astrology,
Okay.
but I examine trends and I perceive the transiting influences, which are the influences of the planets as they are in the sky right now, and how they will influence the group mass of people. And so I do believe there are energy patterns. I don't particularly predict specific events, but I will say it's interesting, we've been talking about this whole Bill Clinton issue, and I think Neptune right now has recently, within the past year, entered the sign of Aquarius. Neptune stays in a sign for 14 years, and it has been the last 14 years in Capricorn, and Capricorn deals with politics. What happens is all of these planets, they move retrograde, and that means they appear to be moving backwards. So right now, Neptune is making what I call its last blast into Capricorn, and I find it very interesting some of the political dramas that we're observing as Neptune takes its last step back into Capricorn. And Neptune dissolves boundaries, and it has a lot to do with the group subconscious, and it exposes things, and it reveals, you know, reveals what's underneath. And so I think Neptune going through Capricorn will reveal things about politics, about politicians, and so that makes sense to me. And so we have Uranus and Neptune are going to be in Aquarius the next 5 years, and that's going to give us a lot of energy for the new age, because we are entering into the age of Aquarius, and some of us are already there.
Some of us were there back when it came around years ago. Remember
Yeah.
that, the age of Aquarius?
It
I'll
is
tell
the
you one thing that I can
dawn
predict
of
for
the
sure, and that's further stardom for Dottie and Margot.
Oh, yes, let's hear it.
One big wow for us. Wow! It's fabulous. We are! And you are too!
And you, and you, and you.
It's great to meet you both.
Well,
Well,
this has been
Margot,
just fun.
thank you.
If people want more information, do you have any books off the top of your head, or could they?
Stephen Forrest has a very good book for beginners. It's called The Inner Sky, and
Inner Sky.
I always recommend this for people who are just getting started. It's very clear and concise descriptions of the sun signs, of the houses, all of the basic things that make up a natal chart. And I would recommend that book very highly.
I have a question just about convention. How many dates do you have to have before it's polite to ask somebody their latitude and longitude and the moment of their birth, you know? When,
Can you ask that on the first date?
Right, and then, you know, to find out if you're compatible. You know, is it considered intrusive to ask on the
I
first
mean, do you
date?
do it over coffee? Do you do it over hors d'oeuvres? I mean,
You
I
go
think you should do
directly
it right
to the
off the bat. I
internet?
mean, why waste
Kate is a
time?
very direct person. I think she would do it
Well,
off the bat.
Yes, in my own case, I mean, if I were, when I meet people, I always ask them, you know, I've learned a lesson many times. I've met people and I have not asked them, and I became very interested in what their horoscope was, and then somehow I never saw them again, and I didn't get their data. So I learned to get it right away. That's what I would recommend. You get it right on the first moment.
Well, I think that means that you and I have to have a deeper conversation about a few things.
Ah, geez.
Is it about the trash again?
No, it's not about the trash. It's probably about the planets, the stars. Who knows? I don't know. We never looked into much
Well,
of
that's
that
the
stuff.
thing, you never know where they've been.
The planets?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I thought you meant me. You think I'm going to tell you everything?
Well, thanks again for coming on our show, Casey. And it's
Thanks
a
so much,
treat
Margo.
to meet you fans.
Well,
It's James and Peter.
Yes.
Yay! And their pet flamingo. Does your flamingo
Yes.
have a name?
yes, it's
Little Peter?
Pokey.
Oh, Pokey?
Yes.
Oh, Okie the flamingo.
Little Peter is pokey. Well, anyway.
That's for another
That's purely a
segment.
medicinal matter.
Want to blow a big drag queen kiss to our
Yes.
cable
Oh,
audience?
let's try.
1, 2,
Okay,
3.
1, 2, 3.
Mwah. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. 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 Well, this is exciting. This has been a lot of fun.
For just a night like this, filled with bliss, you led my heart astray. 'Twas just a real sweet chance to learn romance in a perfect way. It was the end of a perfect day. Say, the moon was all aglow, and heaven was in your eyes. When I thought you told me those little white lies, the stars all seemed to know that you didn't mean all those sighs. When I thought you told me those little white lies, I tried, but there's no forgetting when evening appears. I sigh, but there's no regretting in spite of my tears. The devil was in your heart, but heaven was in your eyes.
Oh, my Lord. You know, one time I drank so much, I thought my hair turned yellow. Okay. Have you ever had that not-so-fresh feeling, Dottie?
I don't think so.
Well, you're having one now. Your breath is just horrid. Here, try one of these. They're called breath mints. That's right. Here, just swallow them. That's much better. So remember, girls, the next time you have that not-so-fresh feeling, swallow one of these. Here, let's go get some booze.
Little white lies, someday you will love that somebody who you think is true. Someday you will find that someone is cheating on you. A smile will be on her lips, the tears will be in your eyes. Your heart will be broken by little white lies.
Welcome to another edition of Doing It with Dot. And now, for this edition, we're going to talk about dating. Because, of course, I am your dating diva. Now, so many times I'm asked questions, and I just don't always have the answers for them. I have the answers, but I just don't know how to tell them. Because most people don't want to listen. It's a tragedy. Now, first of all, so many people are judgmental of us. Isn't that true? It's just terrible. Just because we date does not mean anything bad about us. Let's face it, we are all out there for one reason and one reason only, to find that very special man. Now, isn't that true? It's hard in this world today, girls. So many judgments are placed upon us, but we stick it out. Just because you wear a short skirt does not mean you deserve to be raped. Just because you walk in a certain way does not mean you're out for a date. Let's face it, girls, you are who you are, and that's the most important thing in the world, is to always stick to that. Now, on to dating. First, I think we'd start with morals. Yes, more roles. We should always play a lot more roles. You can do the French maid. You can do, the dominatrix. I wouldn't go into like the slave issue of myself, but it's out there if you want to try it. It's a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun to play all these roles, but remember, be careful. Some men are stupid, and they don't know what they're doing. Now, As far as men's stupidity, relationships can be difficult when dating. We all know this is true, and we've all had to deal with its problems. Now remember, girls, you are a person. No man should control you, and you should maintain that control whenever possible. Too many times we have people that talk about, women who are like too involved with themselves, or women who can just seem to want to control everything. Girl, that's not the issue. Men have been taking care of things for 2,000 years. It's about time that somebody else took over. Look at the mess we're in. Anyway. Now, ending those pesky relationships. We all know how difficult this can be, as we know how some of those pigs can be. Especially for those wackos. You know how they are. Won't ever leave you alone, volley you around, peek in your windows late at night. They're just tacky, 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 tacky. Now, there are all sorts of things you can do to get rid of those pesky relationships. Now, for a starter, you can always lie. You just don't match, and things aren't working out for the two of you. Or there's always that common never call. However, the only problem with this is 20 years down the line, you find out they've still been waiting for that call from you to tell them no or yes. Those are the kind of men we all wish to avoid, which brings us to our next man, the wacko. Now, remember, there are many ways to deal with this kind of person. Bug spray, murder, there's always mace. Now, an array of things that you can do as well are keep people around you at all times. Make sure you videotape outside your house to know that when he is stalking you, and then you can always get a court order to keep him away. When he does violate that court order, you can have him arrested. Now remember, ladies, there's nothing wrong with breaking up that special relationship. I've always said, there's nothing wrong with a short-term relationship. After all, when a long-term doesn't come along, a quickie will do. Now, ladies, the most important thing to remember is that you are the most above. Your happiness is above all the most important. And when that isn't present, run like hell. There's nothing wrong with getting out of that relationship. And remember, there are lots of men out there, and they're not all just for you. There can be a lot of situations that won't necessarily go with your ego or with your life. And when that is the case, dump him. Thank you so much for joining us for this very special edition of Doing It with Dot. And remember, it's just not just dating, it's a whole lot, it's a whole world of sex. Bye.
This place is so dirty. Filthy. Gotta clean this crap up. What's this? Oh. There's a story behind all this. I wonder what it is. What have I found here? Look at that. Queen. Oh my. I found. What's this? What's this? Queens and Oh, wait. Oh, I got gotta have those. What? Let me see what's going on. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta have these shoes. I gotta hide them before somebody sees me. Where am I gonna put them? Let me see. Oh, I'll just put them here and nobody ever know I was here. I gotta get out of here. Okay. Oh, I hope I'm far enough away. Oh, I gotta get out of this outfit. Let me just check. Let me see. Oh, I gotta hope these nails aren't broke. Oh, come on now. These gloves. Oh, let me see. Fabulous. Oh, perfect. Let me check these other fingers here. Oh, fabulous. Just too good to myself. Oh, I get this coat off. It's just awful. Oh, goddamn button. Oh, I hate these cheap coats. Whew. Good. This is so hot today. Oh, I'm just too good to myself. Oh, look at those fabulous nails. Okay. Oh, who is that pig over there? He cannot possess me. Oh, really good.
Enchanté. Gee, learning French is easy. Boy, this city of Fargo sure is getting to be a big one. Home on the range, Gee, I wonder what this French dressing tastes like. I got some French bread, too. Vive la France, vive la France, vive la France, vive la, vive la, vive la. Oh! Would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? Well, I don't know. I'm getting kind of big. I'm going to have to pass girl this time. I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, no! I don't think so. I don't have any money. I'm sorry. You must have something. I'm sorry. These pearls, like my Auntie M gave to me. You can't have these pearls. They mean a lot. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's cheap garbage. We don't want that. You cheap Girl Scout. You, I tell you. You're so cheap. Oh, Let me alone! I knew I shouldn't have gone out for happy hour today. Just look at this dress. Look at my hair. Oh, nylon. Hey, where in the state of North Dakota are my shoes? Oh, Charity, make your body stand blue. Here, take these. I don't need them anyhow. Oh! My! People come and go so quickly here. You know, Two Toes, a bad hair day like today makes a big bone girl like me just want to scream sometimes. Ah! How do you like that? The house has got the shakes, and I'm the one who's had the moon. Oh, I better just take some aspirin and sleep this one off. Jiminy, it's like the whole room is spinning.
So, you know, Two Toes? That's right. I paid too much for this trailer. Gee willikers. Two Toes? I don't think we're in Fargo anymore. Mambo! I mean, a shot of this dress.
Oh, isn't this lovely?
And look at the pictures on the wall.
It's so homey. Gee.
New shoes?
Oh,
I don't know how you walk in those club feet. Mambo! Wow, just as I remembered it. This is really a big, impressive church.
I don't think I'm allowed to be God, am I?
No, you're not. Oh, in the right sense. Look at the size of that organ.
Oh,
Do you ever play the organ? This kind of thing?
that's like the one song I ever know.
What do you call that song?
Let's have a seat. You know what?
There's Pastor Paul. And here's Paul.
Hi, welcome to All God's Children.
Hi, Pastor Paul. I'm Margot from Fargo.
Nice to meet you, Margot.
I'm Dottie, the pretty one.
Nice to meet you, Dottie.
We have some questions about spirituality maybe you can help us out with.
Sure, be glad to.
How is it very difficult as the church, this particular church, to keep it? Do they get any flack from other churches? How do you deal with that? Does that happen at all in the church world? I don't know.
Well,
But
yes.
I'm just thinking you are so
Yes.
unique.
Yes.
And it is so wonderful. I'm really glad that you exist. But I'm just thinking the other churches may feel threatened by it, and I don't know.
Well, it's had some good points and some bad points in it all, because I've been invited to speak at different congregations in our community, and I spoke recently at a Lutheran church. I spoke to an adult Sunday school class, and they were interested about homosexuality in the Bible, and I'd explained and walked through the scriptures that have been used to condemn gays and lesbians, and we re-examined each one of these passages of scriptures to find out that God is not condemning gays and lesbians in the context of this passage or these passages at all. And at the end of the class, one gentleman came up to me and he said, you know, I'm angry that you have a church like this. He said, I'm angry because that means we've failed. He said, we've failed as a Lutheran church to reach out to gays and lesbians. And he said, my heart is really saddened that gays and lesbians had to go elsewhere to find a spiritual journey or strength and empowerment. Now, on the other hand, we've also had a variety of people who've opposed our church. Quite often, if I'm in the Star Tribune or in the television interviews in our community, I'll get letters from people saying, you know, you're going to hell, what you're doing is you're leading people astray, you know, this kind of talk of acceptance of gays and lesbians is wrong. And so I get a stack of hate mail, you might say, every so often, you know, every month or so, I get a variety of different letters from people. Recently, there was a march for Jesus that the ecumenical evangelical community had put together. Sort of the more conservative right-wing churches wanted to do this march for Jesus. And we accidentally got invited because they didn't know who we were. They sent us a letter and said, you know, you're welcome to march with us. And so I called them up and I said, well, we'd love to march with you. You know, it's a march downtown projecting our love for Jesus. And I said, this is fabulous. Of course, we gay and lesbian Christians will be there. The gay and lesbian Christians, you know, click, they hung up, you know, and I called them back and they said, you know, they were kind of nervous in what they had done. And they said, how did you get this letter? And I said, well, you sent a letter inviting us. And they said, well, you know, first of all, if you're going to march with us, you people have to believe in God. And I said, but we do. And then they said, well, you people have to believe in Jesus. And I said, but we do. Well, you have to believe in the Apostles' Creed. And I said, we do. Well, and they began to go down the list, and I said, we do, we comply. We are a Christian church, a people who love God. Well, you can't have an agenda. And I said, well, picture this, gays without an agenda. I said, we comply with all your, there's no reason why you can't march, why we can't march. And then I had an Assemblies of God pastor call me, and he said, you know, appealing to me as, he said, you know, as a brother in Christ. He said, you were a former Assemblies of God pastor. He said, if you gays and lesbian march in this march, there'll be others who will drop out. And you may destroy the whole march for Jesus. And I said, you mean others who are Christians professing to love God can't march hand in hand with us just simply because of our sexual orientation? He said, yes, you're threatening the Billy Graham crusade that's upcoming that year and all this kind of stuff that was associated with it.
Good.
And I said, well, you know what? I said, you know, you bet we're going to be there to march with him. And that's, he said, well, what will we tell these other pastors and other churches? And I said, tell them to rethink what Christianity is all about. God so loved the world is what my Bible says. How about yours? And he just was kind of dumbfounded. So that day of the march, we marched with everyone. Of course, no one could wear T-shirts or carry signs or banners, so no one knew who was gay or who was lesbian or who was bisexual or transgender that was there. You know, we just all marched together, and it was sort of this suspicious thing of everyone kind of looking around and saying, who's gay? Who's gay? You know, and I thought it was kind of funny, and nobody really knew. And so, you know, I kind of walked up to some of these other pastors and took their hands, and we were marching around. And after we'd marched for several blocks, I turned to them and said, hi, I'm the gay pastor, you know. And so it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I wrote every one of these pastors after the march, and I thanked them for being brave. And I thanked them for their mistake, by chance, of inviting us. Because I said, you're breaking down the walls where we're beginning to dialogue and communicate and understand what the Bible really all is about and what Christianity is really about. It's about love. And the Bible, one of the greatest commandments Jesus said is, love the Lord your God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. First, we have to love ourselves. It's a powerful message for us as gays and lesbians. We have to love ourselves. Then we can love our neighbors, and that empowers us to love God all the more. And this is what it's all about for anyone in our world. Whether you oppose homosexuality or you have different views about abortion or theology or this or that, God has called us to love one another, and that's where it begins.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yes.
That's a great message.
That's great.
Well, we invite you to come and worship with us. Our congregation, as I said, is a very diverse congregation. We have gays and lesbians, bisexual, transgenders, heterosexuals, people coming out, families coming here, children. I thought one of the most outstanding things was one Sunday morning, a car pulled up, and a heterosexual mother dropped off her gay son, who was 16 years old, and his boyfriend. And she'd gone out of her way to pick up her son's boyfriend and drop them off at church and said, I want my kids to go to church someplace where they can feel at home. And I thought that was really incredible. I never thought I'd see the day when people were that open and that accepting in their families and in their homes, and that I would see young teenagers coming into our church, gay teenagers and lesbian teenagers coming in, comfortable with themselves, comfortable enough to be out and come into an environment that's welcoming like this.
The world is changing.
Amen.
It's really nice to be alive these days.
Really, you know, and you hear so many people, pastors from the Pat Robertson and the fundamentalist religious right, always saying the world's getting worse. Look around, can't you see all the sin and evil and the immorality and all the stuff? The world is coming to an end, and they're preaching this despair and gloom, that the world is really getting... And I want to say, wait a minute, open your eyes. Don't you see all the wonderful things that are happening in the realms of peace and justice? And the incredible ways that people are learning to get along with one another. This is a global village that we live in. People learning the essence of Christianity, and that is love, and practicing that love. The Berlin Wall coming down. Look what happened in South Africa. Look what's happening around the world in many countries. And look what's happening in our own community of people accepting one another in diversity with races and different cultures, and people accepting one another in sexual orientations, and just welcoming one another. I think Minneapolis is really a real trendsetter in what is really the world is yet to be. A place of peace, love, and celebration for everyone.
Well said. Well, thanks a lot for talking with us.
I
Yes.
can tell you how great it was. And
We do something special. Are you ready to blow a big
Big
great
great
green
green
kiss
kiss?
to our studio audience?
All right.
1, 2, 3. Mwah! Goodbye, everybody.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye from Our God's Children's Church. Goodbye.
God bless
Thanks
you
a lot
and
for
Brother
talking
Paul.
with us. Thank you.
never doubt, dear, I can't forget you. I've thought you out, dear. I know your profile and I know the way you kiss. Just the thing I miss on a night like this. If dreams are made of imagination, I'm not afraid of you, my creation. Without a blush, I give my lips for you to take. Why should I quake? I'm not afraid. romantic? How I know your voice, a dream that can be heard. Isn't it romantic? Can I help rejoice at each endearing word? Brought by a secret charm, or by my heart's command, you'll write to me in armor, just to kiss my hand. Isn't it romantic? You will hear my call and bend your royal knee. Isn't it romantic? You're so straight and tall, and yet a slave to me.